America first.
The Netherlands second. Is that okay?
No, it's going to be America first, but can we just say the Netherlands second? But then so many countries had their copycat spin-off. Belgium second, Thailand second, Iran. I wish I'd thought of that.
How long are you going to keep doing Trump?
The question is, what's going on in the news right now? Because it's funny until it's not funny. Trump's favorite words, king and me. Damn Yankee podcast, it's fake news. I'm so upset with you people.
Here's a suitcase full of money.
Okay, I love Damn Yankee. There's listen to the Damn Yankee podcast, the best.
I'm Zach Newmark. This is Damn Yankee, and you know that guy over there as the voice of Donald Trump in so many satirical videos and so many comedy bits that have come out over the past 10 years. Greg Shapiro, thank you so much for joining us today. The American Netherlander himself. People have been saying since we started doing this show that we needed to have you on and sit down and pick your brain a little bit.
Love it.
I have actually known you for 10 years. We were talking about before.
Yes.
Picking your brain seems like a scary idea.
Yeah, I have to live in here. So, yeah.
I mean, you have a bit about that actually with Seth Meyers outing you as like having ADHD, but your wife...
Did you see that show?
I did. And your wife saying,
yeah,
you know, you have... EDD, which then I thought was going to be an erectile dysfunction thing, but turns out it's
not yet.
It's not yet.
No, easily distracted disorder.
Right.
That I have. Yeah. Oh, he does know me.
But is that a challenge for you with the work that you do? Because presenting your shows.
Yeah.
There's a difference, of course, between you doing stand-up and doing improv.
Yeah.
And improv is a sort of controlled chaos, right, where you have to just kind of listen and respond to everybody.
Yep.
Your shows are, are more structured as a solo show. So how do you, curb the easy distraction? That's
a good opening question. Well done. No, because, you mentioned this show where Seth Meyers outed me. I mean, that's a chapter of my show that I did upload to my YouTube. What is it? Seth Meyers outed me as ADHD. But yeah, so I mean, let's back up a step. So I came here in 1994. Mm-hmm. You came 2006?
2006.
So you knew the old Boom Chicago space.
On the Leidseplein.
On the Leidseplein. So that's where Seth Meyers, when he first got here in I came 94, he came 97. And so, yeah, that's where we really came of age, Mm-hmm. But so then now Boom Chicago's at this new space, the Rosenfeld, and so we had a few years ago, it was the Boom Chicago Comedy Festival.
Right.
And that's when, some of the famous alumni will come back. And that was this show where someone asked Seth Meyers, what do you remember from your first ever day in Amsterdam? And he said, this guy named Greg came to pick us up at the airport. And he proceeded to tell us what the first part of everything we needed to know about the city. But then before he could complete it, he would get distracted and talk about something totally different. And I was backstage at that point and I was like, oh my God, that's how I remember it as well. But that's, welcome to my brain.
And then you've totally taken that idea and premise and turned it into a bit for your last show.
I did. Well, so then comes to your question about, stand-up versus improv. Mm. And it's, improv is how I started out, actually. And I got into stand-up after that. But with improvisation, you're always working with a partner in general, and you don't want to write too much, or if you ever wonder, how do they do it? How do they know what to say? And kind of the secret is it's like a conversation. You don't plan the whole thing unless your interview has a lot of print.
Unless you're not a comedian,
but no, I mean, the idea is it's mostly listening, yes, mm-hmm. And responding, and stand up is, in a way, it's totally different. But when you're creating, it helps to have some kind of partner. And I guess to me, that's the voice in my head or voices. I don't know. No, but there's one voice. It's like a creative voice. And that reminds me. Oh, that reminds me. Oh, what about this? And I don't know. I guess I've learned to channel this form of neurological disorder into creativity.
I mean, you've been doing comedy and performing for a long time. I think you even started in your late teens.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so I'm also wondering if you have this issue of sort of, self-editing. Are you able to edit yourself? Because if you're kind of like constantly pulling yourself in different directions, do you actually get an ability to sit down and kind of like work out, actually, this is funny, but that's funnier?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And editing yourself. I mean, wow, what a skill, and I certainly appreciate now how difficult that can be for lots of people, now that I kind of have this retroactive diagnosis of myself as neurodivergent of some kind. I recognize it so much more in other people, and it's also easy to dismiss people, but understanding myself better makes me able to understand more other people. So some people have no ability to self-edit. And then I appreciate how I have had to teach that to myself. Sometimes if you're talking to me, I will literally say out loud, back pocket. That means that's me talking to my own brain. That's an idea for my back pocket. I'll pull it out when I need it, but I don't have to say it right now. And sometimes I actually have to verbalize this self-edit to myself. And it's fun, actually, how often that back pocket technique works. I'm thinking it now. They're talking. Why don't that might come in handy in a minute or two. Right. And frequently it does. And then I'm like, well done, back pocket. That was good work.
People, obviously in the Netherlands, you've built up an audience over time and you've been here, but people outside of the Netherlands and maybe here too, most likely know you as the Donald Trump voice in the Netherlands second, the America First, Netherlands second bit from Arjen Lubach, which is now, like almost 10 years old.
Yeah, right.
At this point. Right?
Yeah. I mean, indeed, for the whole first Trump term, you could say Netherlands second, and people in the Netherlands certainly knew exactly what you're talking about, because it was that first weekend that Trump was inaugurated, and he said, it's going to be America first and the Netherlands second. Oh, sorry, what did he say? It's going to be America first, and then with the help of the Dutch comedian and his show Arjen Lubach. It was, we know it's going to be America first, but can we just say the Netherlands second? But then so many countries had their copycat spin-off version, started with Germany. And that was, little trivia bit. Jan Bermerman from Neo Magazine Royal.
Oh, yeah?
And so he's like the John Oliver of Germany. And he said, well, this concept is so good, I don't want to have Netherlands second. I want to have Germany second. So we've made our own. And he said, I hereby challenge all these other countries to do your own version. And pretty soon there was Belgium second, Thailand second, Iran. Iran was maybe the funniest. You go back and watch Iran second.
All right.
America first, Iran second. I mean, actually now I have to go back and reshare that one, actually. It was so self-deprecating. They threw the Trump imitation out the window. But so anyway, that's trivia part one. This is all going to be answering your first question, by the way. This is
okay.
All how does this brain work?
Yeah.
But so Jan Bermerman...
the how does your brain work, I think, is
know.
the back pocket theme for the whole episode.
Oh, my goodness. But anyway, so yes, this first video, the Netherlands second video came in 2017. And just this year, I was able to work with Jan Bermerman because he needed a Trump voiceover for... the current Trump conflict with Iran.
Right.
So, in a way, things have come full circle.
And, is this, kind of what you envisioned? Because you write some of this material, but also some of it, I think the Netherlands second bit was Lubach's team, and it was more like a voiceover job, right?
Yeah, exactly. They wrote this wonderful script, and Diederik Smit, I think, was the head writer on that piece, and I came in and they had me read both ways. We should maybe read just an American voiceover, but we could do it, totally Trump, and let's try that. And then they listened back like, I think the Trump voice actually works better. Yeah, let's try that.
Yeah.
And then I was there in the studio when they played it for the live audience on the Sunday night, and and then Monday it was viral.
I mean, is there a part of you that wishes that you had more of an active role in writing that bit? Or are you just happy with it and, kind of what it's done for your career, and now you do so much?
Well, I mean, I was happy to be there at the creation, honestly. And I as a comedy writer, as well as, comedian and improvisation, you always have this condition. I think an old friend of mine in Amsterdam comedy, I think we call it iwitot. I wish I'd thought of that. This is like the highest compliment you can pay to another comedian. That was a good joke.
Yeah.
Jealous.
Right.
I wish I'd thought of that. And that was definitely the script for the Netherlands second. I was happy to be there though, watching the evolution. Well, because they had a script which was ready on the Thursday and on the Friday. And then it was on the Friday that like noon in Washington would have been, 6 hours later here. So it was really just Friday night that they heard, that the writing team heard the term, America first, that was so prevalent. So the line, we know it's going to be America first, but can we just say the Netherlands second? That was thrown in on the last moment because we did it on the Saturday morning. So that was just an afterthought. And what do you know?
I mean, the afterthought ended up, making the bit.
Right?
Yeah.
That was the quote that made the whole video. Yeah.
So, as an American and a Dutch citizen as well, but as an American living out here, and you've been out here for so long, and working as a comedian, you've followed this Trump, the voice of yours, and this sort of like schizoid Trump side of you, because you've incorporated it in so many shows. Yeah. Now, your new show is coming up.
Yes.
Which is called King Me, and it's about King Me 250 Years of Trump.
That is the title.
It's coming up later on this year. And so what I'm wondering also is, how do you keep it fresh, and how long are you going to keep doing Trump?
Yeah, great question, because I have said if, he would be deposed, if he would voluntarily step down and, too bad you can't do your Trump voice anymore. I would happily trade that just for the stability and the sanity. But for now, yes, I just actually did my last solo show, was leaving Trumpland, about the 2024 election. So, I recorded it and edited it and just finished uploading it to YouTube. And so, okay, ready to put that behind. But so for the new show, what should I do? It's going to be 250 years of the United States experiment, 250 years on the 4th of July.
Yeah, since the founding, right?
The American Revolution, and we clearly need another American Revolution. But so, I'm still trying to determine how much, Trump imitation is appropriate for this show, and maybe that'll be the challenge to actually see if we can get away from that. And I think it is also interesting to me that, for any listeners, if you're pro Trump, like I'm happy to declare my bias. I would be happier if he was gone. And I'm hearing more and more voices from like American politics, Democrats mostly, but even some Republicans who are like, enough is enough. And I think there are more and more voices saying this can't last forever, and what comes next,
Right.
And we were just talking before we started taping about Viktor Orban and Hungary, and maybe these forever regimes are not so inevitable. So I think that's what I want to talk about with this show, is what comes next, and also what are we coming from? What's the historical context? So it's going to be about king and me. So it's about kings. How do we deal with the king in the Netherlands? There's been a king. There's sometimes not been a king. Then we brought back a king. But so I think every time I talk about this with Dutch people, they're like, oh yeah, that's interesting. So let's dive into that a little bit. And that's the king part. And then me, the other part was, both words, Trump's favorite words, king and me. But the me idea as well, like this whole me fixation and the attention economy is what some people are calling it. Our addiction to our reels and shorts and TikToks and how, so how did we get to this point and how do we get out of it?
What do you think is going to happen? How do we get out of it?
I think it's possible that it could be nonviolent, and wouldn't that be nice? But I mean, also looking around the world right now, so many former leaders who are in prison, even like from France, Sarkozy, to Brazil, Bolsonaro, to Syria is deposed, whatever, exile, South Korea, Philippines, right? You've got Rodrigo Duterte, the ex-dictator. He's in the Netherlands right now.
Yeah.
At the International Criminal Court. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the Netherlands, but it's not like he's on holiday.
Yeah, no, he's...
I mean, it's kind of coastal.
Yeah, right?
But,
yeah, I hear it's very luxurious. But so, yeah, what happens from here? I was looking at Duterte in Philippines, and that was, a bloodless revolution because the military turned against him, and then came, I guess it was the son of the previous dictator Marcos or whatever, but the military favored this new guy, and so now he's in charge, and Duterte is
not
locked up.
Yeah.
So it's. I think there are actually lots of examples right now of a blueprint.
I mean, you and I are both from the Chicago area originally.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't all of these world leaders and the indictments and, this whiff of corruption everywhere, doesn't it make you miss good old fashioned Chicago corruption? I mean, like
Illinois,
Chicago, there's no corruption that's quite so quaint as that sort of one person in the next person's pocket.
Oh yeah.
Which is Chicago politics.
The clout, who's got the clout,
right?
And then the getting into names that are fun to pronounce, like Blagojevich,
right? Yeah,
former governor, right? Rod Blagojevich.
He was the 4th governor out of 7 to get sent to prison in Illinois.
So we have a blueprint. We have a playbook. That is there for the taking. Yeah, in Illinois as well as. Wouldn't it be nice if Illinois could be the new? As Illinois goes, there goes
the nation.
The nation. Yeah.
I mean, it's when you look at the corruption from Illinois. So, for people who don't know, Rod Blagojevich went to prison for trying to sell Barack Obama's Senate seat when Obama became president. The governor before him went to prison for leaning on people under him to fundraise, which led to the scandal of selling driver's licenses to truck drivers who weren't qualified. And so that was
that led to people being hurt.
That led to actual, deaths. So, it still kind of seems so much more innocent than the corruption that we look at today, doesn't it?
True. Yeah. But all, I'm hearing people like, Adam Schiff from Washington, D.C., although he's from California, Jamie Raskin, a couple of voices that come to mind. And from the Illinois, J.B. Pritzker is the current governor of Illinois. But all these, mostly Democrats are saying, hey, we're taking notes. We assume that this crazy Trump, Project 2025 now in 2026, this won't last forever. And I think someone said, we'll see you at Nuremberg 2.0. Now, it's never nice when you have to say things like, there should be tribunals. But I said to my son, wouldn't that be wild? Where would they have Nuremberg 2.0? And my son chimed in, the ballroom.
Nice.
I guess we could do it right in the ballroom.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it'll be
it's a great
big
joke.
Enough.
Yeah. Is your son funny?
He's
You have a son and a daughter.
A son and a daughter, yes.
They're both
yes.
they're both born and raised here, and they're teens now.
Guess again. My daughter's now 25.
Oh, okay.
And she's living in Paris, and she is pretty funny. She made me laugh just this morning.
Yeah.
And my son is now 22.
Okay.
And he's very funny. He won't say that, but he's dry. He's
Would
very
either
dry.
of them follow your path and and become comedians, do you think?
I don't think so.
You don't
My
think so?
daughter's very creative, and she's like got a master's in creative writing. But my son has tried performing and different kinds of performing. I guess he's it's not his like ambition, I think, but I'm just happy he's good at it.
Your wife's also creative as well. Ines.
Yeah.
You guys have been together for quite some time.
Yes. Ines de Goede.
Yeah.
She's she's the Dutch half.
That sounds like it.
Yes.
Yeah. But, a writer herself.
Yes. She has had a book in her for years and years. And in 2023, she actually published it. It's called Droomhuis. So it's in Dutch. I am hoping that someday there can be an English translation, but yeah, it's like autobiofiction, and it was shortlisted for the Best Newcomer Award 2023, 24. Anyway.
Do you see your kids going, like, when they tap into their creativity, is it more like that, or is it more like, what you do?
Well, honestly, both, I guess. I think for my daughter, it's fair to say that the bigger inspiration, the novel writing half. So yeah, daughter is going more like the mother's path, and if anything, my son will go more like my path, I guess. He came up with a joke years ago, just off the cuff, but I remembered it.
What is it?
It was just a one-liner, and you have to anyway. We were talking about dictionaries and thesaurus, I guess, and he said, "My thesaurus is so bad, it's bad."
That's not bad,
right? Just you have to little pause, and then I just thought that was very clever.
With your daughters in Paris, your son's here, but they're both American citizens, Dutch and American citizens, like you as well. Has there been a moment where they thought, you know what, I want to live there, I want to give the States a try?
Yes, good question, but no, actually, is the answer. We were surprised. The trend, I guess, when they were born was, get both passports for kids, or if they can, have both. And now politically it's different. And in the Netherlands, with the rules, but also with, the U.S. And they like to visit. That's true. My wife still, just has the one passport. So it is more difficult now for us all to go and visit, because if you don't have a U.S. passport, there's a threat that you might get, treated differently, pulled into a different line, and, randomly deported maybe. Anyway, that's a separate point. But for the kids, I was waiting for that moment when they might say, yeah, I could go live in either country, and maybe I'll go try living over there. But that has not happened yet.
No.
So
my daughter's thinking about it. She's she's 14, and she has this idea of, wanting to try out living in the States. She loves Chicago and going back to Chicago.
Oh, nice.
And she really likes it. I'm like, I don't know if that country's going to be there by the time
that
you're at that age, or what it's going to look like anymore.
Sure.
And it might be totally different.
Right. Yeah, I know.
It's strange, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
How often do you actually go back?
Okay, well, so once a year we try to make a trip, and the last couple times I'll go with one of my children, son or daughter. But the last time we were there, the four of us, I think, was like 2018.
Yeah.
And
it's much different now than 2018 when you go back. But do you notice it, when you're on the street, because
that's such a good question.
Where do you actually go? Do you go to Wisconsin?
Yeah,
now
I will.
More?
Yeah, I've had, let's see. So father, mother in Chicago area, separate for years. But actually around 2022 or 3, they both moved out of Chicago. So I don't really have a place to stay, an automatic place to stay in Chicago. So normally if I go back, I'll visit Wisconsin. And sister's living there. Mother went up to live there. And the kids also seem to be more comfortable with Wisconsin. And I get to vote in Wisconsin now because changed my address.
Well, where your vote matters a little bit differently.
Swing state.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's see. You asked about the situation on the street.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's different when you go back? Do you have a different, do you feel like people?
Yeah. I've been studying this as well because, I mean, in Chicago, we literally had, ice raids or ice storms or ice stormtroopers or whatever you want to call that. But I've got former colleagues from Boom Chicago who are, a couple of them have an adopted daughter from Mexican mother. And so she's got a little color to her. They're worried. And I've checked in with them, and so that situation has definitely changed on the street, on the west side of Chicago, or not north side. But they say that actually the community coming together, it's so much more resilient. They have moms showing up with whistles at schools. They have so much more support from each other, I guess. So there's no terrible news yet. It seems like Chicago is less of a hot spot right now. Wisconsin, where my family is mostly living, I keep trying to keep tabs on them. How does it feel? Is inflation, so bad? Have their healthcare premiums shot up? And the only thing they're dealing with now is they have kids who are about ready to go off to college, about your kids' age, and so what? I keep trying to hint like you could send them over here,
right?
Where it's a lot more affordable. They're hung up with that issue. But college, university being more expensive in the U.S. Well, that's been the case for well before Trump.
Right. You had this bit in your last show that I found so relatable also, which, going back to the U.S. And your bit, it was mostly about actually Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
Where, you're in a diner with your son and, they've got the two TVs on, one with Fox News and one with CNN, right. And putting the volume up on one or putting the volume up on the other. And the joke that you made that I found so relatable is because there's no other way of connecting with the person across to the table from you than when TV news is blaring 24/7.
Right.
And I go, and when we see my parents back home, because we're there usually once a year also, it's like TV, 3 different TVs in their apartment are just blaring, CNBC, MSNBC, CNN full blast.
Sure. Oh my goodness.
Like the whole day. And I every time I get there and every time I come back, I'm so happy to live somewhere that isn't a 24-hour news cycle country.
Right. Yeah. True. It's the 24 hours, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's the constant need to maybe do a deep dive, or then frequently what it turns into is just conjecture. This thing could happen, but let's get experts to talk about what could happen. And then, pretty soon it gets into that phenomenon of like, what do you think? I don't know. Well, that's not acceptable. Well, I mean, okay. And then they spend an hour.
And then let's scream at each other for like an hour, right?
And you spend an hour. Yeah, and then you feel like you know less than when you started.
Right. And I think in 2007, I had gone to India as part of my master's degree. And, I was there for like 3 weeks with a bunch of other classmates of mine. And we're in a hotel room first, maybe the second day that we're there in New Delhi, and turn on the TV and find some 24-hour news channel. And it's 8 people on TV at the same time, all screaming over each other as it's one banner after another of breaking news, or breaking news that. Yeah. And I'm just watching it. I just stopped working in TV about a year earlier. And I was like, okay, this is so overwhelming. How is it possible that people watch this? And now I go back to the States 20 years later. Yeah. And it's like exactly what's on TV in the States is it's 4 or 5 people screaming at each other. And, meanwhile, with the joke that you made was, Titanic anniversary date as the breaking news, like something that happened 120 years ago being like the breaking news. Yeah. in that moment.
Yeah.
And I just I notice each time I go back, it feels like, there's just either a little bit more tension or just a full total avoidance, if possible, from all of those TVs.
Right. Yeah.
Because you can't go anywhere without TVs
spaces
being on.
Yeah. Have this constant commentary, and stress indeed. I really, I don't know if we turn it off, cut the cable, and is that how America, the U.S., our collective media, moves on? Or maybe that's where we find each other, is fighting polarization by listening to the other half. I don't know, but
Laura, who helped produce this episode, had put to this question to me that she really wanted to ask, which was, because you're very much not a Trump supporter,
right?
Very much, and and also kind of working in politics here with with the centrist party that's in power, which is themselves kind of being dragged to the right.
Right,
we can talk about that off camera later.
Okay,
but the idea being that if you're so vehemently opposed to Trump, where do you feel, or where are your feelings about the irony of needing or getting all of that material?
Yeah,
that comes from Trump being in office.
Oh, I know. I mean, there was even a point in 2016 when at Boom Chicago, I was with Pep Rosenfeld, and we're celebrating 25 years of doing solo shows together.
Yeah.
And you mentioned starting performing in late teens. I mean, back at Evanston High School, it was now 40 years ago that Pep and I started writing comedy together.
Which is crazy.
And then performing together since 2001. But anyway, so in 2016, we did a show called Trump Up the Volume.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea was that we would make fun of Trump, then he would go away, and we could do a different show, talk about something else. But that, became the longest running show at Boom Chicago, actually. I know that Trump.
I love the vocal effect of it became the longest running show.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. And so at some point, this is a man who thrives on attention and the attention economy. And, and are we only helping give him more attention, more power? So there is an irony to it. I know we're Americans and we're not technically supposed to talk about, my British colleagues love to tell me, Americans have no real concept of irony, but fine. It seems ironic that we are, helping celebrate this. Any joke about Trump is still, giving attention to him.
So, now that, you're doing this new show, where do you find, the joke that you actually want to make versus the joke that you want to stick in your back pocket because, you don't want to provide a megaphone to whatever?
True. Well, it's a new challenge, actually. And so far I've been working up to 20 minutes, half an hour of new material. And I talk about him very little. Sometimes, if there's something shiny object in the headlines or something, then I will bring that up. But that's my challenge currently.
Yeah.
Is to, let the other kids play. Make Donnie realize that he's not the only one. And that might be the best way to stick it to him.
You mentioned working with Pep Rosenfeld, who's one of the founders of Boom Chicago, the improv comedy theater here in Amsterdam.
Yes.
Along with his partner Andrew.
Yes.
But back in Evanston.
Yes.
When which for people who don't know, again, a suburb just to the north of Chicago. What was that like working together? I mean, did you have a sense that you guys would still be friends and still performing together 40 years later?
Isn't that something? I mean, let's see. So origin story. For myself, I grew up in Chicago, like the city, and it was right around the time that Blues Brothers came out. 1980,
83, yes.
But we moved to the suburbs at some point. So around 1979, 80. But I really feel like the the feeling of Blues Brothers with garbage, blowing around in the streets. That's what I grew up with.
Right.
And then we moved to the suburbs, and it was instantly John Hughes movie. It was 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Home Alone, and so that's where I met Pep and Andrew, and so they were best friends since they were like 9 years old, and then we all met in high school, and at some point, Pep and I ended up on the team of writing the senior year High School Musical. And then we all ended up going to the same university together. Now, that's fairly, unusual, or at least the idea is, you do a 4-year degree. You got to go away from home and study.
And then the three of you are just down the street at Northwestern.
We were townies.
Yeah.
And they had parents working at the university. So I think it's fair to say their education was a little less expensive. And so when I graduated, I had a lot of debt. But they were like, let's start up a comedy theater. So they went to Amsterdam in summer of 93, and I came in 1994.
But what I'm wondering is, when you were 17 and performing with them, did you feel like, these are the people who I was meant to meet. These are the people I was meant to keep working with. Yeah,
there was a point, I think, where we were, I think the kids these days would say vibing. But yeah.
And another slang word goes to the waste bin.
Ew, not using that one anymore. Say my kids. But so, it was fair to say that, that we started sharing more of a sense of humor. Then we grew up with the theater, Second City, which is the origin of Saturday Night Live. But we went to see the live shows in the 80s, and eventually ended up doing a swap, a stage swap with Second City in 2002 and 3. And
that's so cool.
Yeah. So I think it's fair point that early on we realized we had the same maybe sense of humor, but also the same kind of comedic idols and professional aspirations,
Yeah. And the two of them, they came out to Amsterdam before you, right?
Yeah.
So they come out here, kind of like it, and are like, there's no theater here that's doing, this kind of improv comedy, and certainly not in English at that time, and sort of on a lark, are able to kind of form this theater.
Right. Yeah.
How was it that you actually came out to Amsterdam?
So the first summer, I was living in New York at that point, and I was, studying at one or another academy and working toward doing some off-Broadway shows. But, for one summer,
the best way out of debt from Northwestern University is being as a struggling actor in New York.
In New York. Yeah. I'm an actor. Oh, what restaurant?
Right. Yeah.
And so I was broke. I was very broke. And so then came the idea of you can live for the summer rent free.
Right.
And they'll pay my flight. I'm like, okay. So that was already I'll do this for one summer. And it was super fun. And then pretty soon came another summer, on offer. And I thought, yeah, sure, I'll do that again. And indeed, I studied 4 years of theater at the university. So my instinct, or I guess, my training was to find a group of like-minded artists and set down roots. And I just didn't expect that would be in Amsterdam. But yeah, that was a process all through the 90s of trying to slowly realize and tell my family, I think I'm not coming back.
So which was the bigger shock to your family? Was it moving out here, full on, or was it, becoming a working performer?
Honestly, the whole family situation, that was difficult.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it to people necessarily. And now our kids are, maybe moving away. And Pep and I just said to each other the other day, oh, maybe they're leaving. And I have nothing.
Right.
No grounds for complaint about that, because look what I did. But anyway, it's fine actually now. It seems
Yeah, but what was it at the time?
It was like
you're crazy for being a performer.
Definitely.
You're crazy for being in Amsterdam.
You ran away and joined the circus, and when are you going to take your life seriously? But it turns out it was an excuse, I guess, or an opportunity to deal with some other longer issues or longer standing issues, within the family. So,
what was going on?
Yeah, like so my mom had gotten a divorce right around the time that I moved over here, so that was just maybe there was a a point when she needed someone around me, for example, where I like went back for one off season, and I think we were like roommates, and for like a few months, and I kind of thought this I studied Oedipus. This doesn't feel right. So anyway, then I was like, okay, I think I'm staying away for good now, and I don't know. I felt like that was clear, but it was not, and so ugh. That was also ugh. But it was an opportunity to eventually say like, oh yeah, we were dealing with some heavy stuff right around then, and still here for each other. But
was your father kind of on the same sort of I don't understand why you're doing this train?
Yes and no. Yeah, he would be more supportive. I think it was only recently that I went back to visit and talked about those first years, and that must have been hard for him too. And actually, he said, when you moved away, and I understood at some point, oh, you're not coming back, and I guess I thought, good for you, and proud, proud of you. So it took 20 years maybe to hear that, but it still counts.
Yeah.
And it really, I don't know, sometimes you can't hear it enough. And maybe only 20 years later, I was really ready to hear that.
Were you kind of searching for that?
Definitely.
You were?
Oh, yeah. And I really felt guilty, for, abandoning my family. But I think my wife and I met this Dutch woman, and pretty soon we kind of realized we had the same thing going on with our parents. And one or another self-help book that we, got into started talking about how parents are supposed to be parents. Parents are supposed to be older and wiser, and there may come a point in your very old age where you rely on your kids to provide some form of care. But when parents come to their kids and say, I need emotional validation, or I need money, like, boy, that's kind of the cardinal sin of parenthood. Maybe don't do that. And so we would compare notes about how, in one or another ways, we both have kind of experienced that from being the kid in that relationship. And so as parents, we thought, there's something we can pledge to each other, like, don't do that.
Right.
And I think, is that a longer answer to your question? Yeah.
I mean, it makes me also kind of wonder what it was like in your household when you were growing up. I mean, here you had studied theater at Northwestern. You had been doing theater through high school.
Yeah.
You had been sneaking off, or maybe not sneaking off, but one way or another making it to Old Town in Chicago to see Second City shows. So I'm kind of wondering, wait, did your parents not see this coming? The idea of, hey, we may have given birth to a clown who, wants to do barrel rolls at the rodeo, right?
Wait, what kind of clown are we talking about here? Yeah, right. And give up show business?
Right.
Yeah, right. I mean, my grandfather, so this was my father's father, he took me aside at one point and said, you can go study theater, but maybe you want a side major, study a little bit of business on the side or something. He was concerned that you can't necessarily support yourself. And I think I've said this much to my own kid. Like, I'm not like, I never want to lean on you for my basic needs. But looking at it from the other perspective, when I say to you, I'm proud of you, that also kind of means I'm relieved. I don't have to bail you out.
Right.
You're not dependent on me. So when parents say, I'm proud of you, it kind of means I'm glad you're not asking me for money.
Right.
And anyway, so of course that's what my parents must have thought as well. But honestly, that is when I think the Boom Chicago theater, started actually paying some bills, and seeming like it was not going to be a fly by night or a flash in the pan, kind of phenomenon. Like, this was a real company that had a business plan and a business model and was there to stay. So it's fair to say that if I had stayed in Chicago, or New York, it would have been harder to make a living, to make money. And I think it was really inspiring over here to see that pretty soon, like, there are some Dutch basics, like social safety net, basic healthcare you don't have to worry about. Vacation time was already like, we get that. It's kind of built in. And then came this thing called vacation pay.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. The company doesn't necessarily want to give me however many weeks, but now they actually have to contribute to my budget for going on vacation. That just blew my mind. And, because I'd worked in America enough at restaurants or temping or offices or whatever, like, that seemed like this is kind of the promised land.
Well, and if you if you have a job in the States where you have vacation time, you're not encouraged to use it,
right?
Or you're actively discouraged.
Yeah, you don't love the company enough.
Out of exactly. Yeah. So it's a totally different mindset.
Yeah. So I think anyway, once I would share these details, once my parents' family would come over here and visit and see how we were living, see how the society was organized. I think that did make a difference.
Are your parents still around?
Yes, thank you very much. They. I got my mom in Wisconsin now, and my dad, who is in Virginia. So I've got a much younger half brother, and he's closer to him.
Well, and your stepfather had passed away, which was also part of your show.
Yeah, the previous.
Where you were talking about coronavirus and the pandemic and. All of that around there. But here you are, when that happened, you're out here.
Right.
And, was that, was there a regret of not being out there at the time? And was it difficult to even get to the States? Because at what point in the pandemic was it?
Yeah. It was July of 2020. So it was not possible.
So it was nobody traveling.
Well, in a way, then, there was no sense of guilt just because it's not like, well, I'm making a hard decision here. I'm going to skip this. No, like I couldn't have gone.
Were you guys close?
Well, let's see. So now, some more bio from me. My mom and dad, so biological parents, they divorced when I was quite young. So, 1 or 2 years old. And they both stayed a part of my life. But then my mom married my stepdad when I was 5 or 6. So that was kind of the dad that I grew up with in my house. And so, we were close, and he also, he was a fan of Second City. He would take me to Second City Theater. And he was supportive in his own way of me, doing shows and doing show business. And, but it's fair to say let's see. So my sister that I talk about is actually my half sister, and but we grew up in the same house, and so at some point when the dementia was setting in, she and I both were wondering what's going on. It was difficult for her more because she was there,
right?
And so I think I made it clear at some point I'm not going to drop everything and fly over if some weird episode happens, but I can be available on the phone, and you can, if you need someone to talk to and tell me all about it, I can do that. So that was at least helpful. And it got to the point, though, that the dementia was prevalent. I think the last time I saw him and spoke to him was 2019, but he was pretty far gone at that point. So, yeah.
I mean, he's taking you to these shows.
Yeah.
Is he 80s, kind of, is he kind of the comedy influence for you?
That's a good question, because it's definitely a team effort. My mom, very funny. She's definitely got her sense of humor from like that side of the family. But then, so my stepdad, as well as my dad, very like Jewish, family upbringing. Third generation, from the immigrants that came over from Belarus,
from the old country,
from the
old country,
and they had their own like sense of humor. I would say my stepdad was more dark, and yeah.
Do you ever think about going dark in your comedy?
Oh yeah. It's kind of It seems to play well in the Netherlands, so it's kind of a requirement at this point. Yeah. Yeah. No, the previous show got pretty dark, actually. So,
are you going to follow that further?
I think I should. I don't know if I'm following that topic further necessarily.
No, but I mean going darker.
Yeah. It's dark. So, like we're talking about protest signs. Someone says, Trump, you sucked in Home Alone too. And ha ha ha, but another one said, can we skip to the part where he shoots himself in the bunker? So, then the audience will be like, who? But also, and so, yeah, it's pretty dark right now. And it's also, well, I get the question more often, are the things you can't joke about with Trump in the White House. And the question is, what's going on in the news right now? Because it's funny until it's not funny. And if there's an impression that people are getting hurt, and I still remember the first time that he came into the White House, and that first weekend was like the whole inauguration, and that was like, oh, what a goofball. More people at my inauguration than, Obama, whatever. Oh, he's kind of nuts, and what a narcissist. But the following weekend, it was like, oh, Muslim ban. We're going to put a travel ban on, on a religious basis. And all of a sudden that was like, whoa, that's not cool. And so then all of a sudden, like you couldn't make those jokes. You can't make fun of him because it's a little too, I don't know, like traumatic for people to like, don't go there. And then that might wear off, because Trump is, if he's good at anything, it's switching the subject so completely, from one day to the next.
Yeah. And taking all the air out of the room.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so anyway, to answer the question, do you go dark or not? I think as much as possible to try to, push the envelope.
Because you see that, you see that with a lot of stand-up comedians now.
Yeah.
I would say, you saw it before, like with the Sam Kinnisons or the Bill Hicks and guys like that. But I think now you still see, where you've got performers that just go and chase their demons further and further and darker and darker and darker.
Yeah.
Like keep scratching that surface and keep telling more and more, revealing more about themselves on stage. Is that, is that for you kind of the development of Greg Shapiro's comedy?
I think there's an element to that. Yeah. I mean, I have seen enough comedians that treat comedy like a therapist or something. And at some point, if
like we were talking, we were
Right.
both at, in Marc Maron's audience where that is like an hour and a half therapy session, his show in a lot of way, right?
Well, at some point, is it more self-indulgent than it is funny? Well, then we have a problem. But if it's both, then that's strong stuff. I guess there's Marc Maron, current comedians like Anthony Jeselnik, or he's known for being, very dark, but then, flipping it around, or is that how you perceive it? There can't be dark without light, or they can't be light without dark. And
Right.
so there's always that you can sort of play off of. But there's, sorry, this is very white, first of all, but then there are comedians like Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle. They both did a duo show, a couple of years ago in Amsterdam, both when they were Chris Rock going through a big divorce. So talking about his own personal journey, but, and getting slapped at the Oscars and stuff. But, that got fairly dark. Dave Chappelle, oh my goodness. There's a journey, and whatever you might think of Dave Chappelle, a lot of people, I think, get offended when they hear the name. I would argue because they're offended about what someone else said about him, haven't necessarily watched the stuff, but his journey, Dave Chappelle's journey of going dark, and talking about, the Black experience, in the United States, the show business.
We were talking earlier about kind of getting started in Amsterdam and settling in Amsterdam, and your parents thinking you were crazy for being out in Amsterdam. But at what point did your wife actually, come into the picture? When did you meet her?
Right. Well, she was working at Boom Chicago in 1997.
An early forerunner to the Me Too movement.
Yeah. We did not really have an HR department at that point. And there were so many people who ended up getting married based on people that they met while working at Boom Chicago. So, anyway, we started dating, and then there was, an Amsterdam housing crisis. So my sublet fell through about 3 months into our relationship, and she said, well, you might as well move in with me. Seemed a bit premature, but she was very Dutch direct. She was like, nope, this is going to work. And I'm like, okay.
All right. So, I guess this is going to work.
It went very far, very fast. And then, she would have met my parents when they came to visit first, I think. And then at one point, the first time that I took her back to visit the United States it would have been winter. It would have been winter. It would have been around Christmas time when we both had the same vacation schedule. So after a week of Chicago winter between Christmas and New Year's, she said, I love you, but this is not going to work.
Yeah. It's still not an easy place to be in the winter.
Really so isn't. I kind of realized why not just stay in Amsterdam? So that was part of it. And
No, go ahead.
She was, you mentioned about the book as well. She started writing this book kind of after we had children, and that would have been 2001. And but the book took like 20 years to finish.
Yeah. I mean, the struggling American author, one would think, 20 years is just about right for a book to come out.
Yeah, that's true. But she combines, motherhood with work pretty well. And we both work from home at this point, and we have done for a while.
Even before you guys moved in together, were you already pretty, sure in your head that you were going to stay out here in Amsterdam?
Not at all. No. She was the reason, I think. No, that was there was also the point where I met her that Boom Chicago started going year round. So that, 94 was when I came. But I mean, so in the life of Boom Chicago, 93, summer only, 94, 95, 96, summer only. And then 97 into 98 was kind of the first year that they had this, Light Supply Theater space. They were able to go the whole year round.
Right.
And from 98 into 99, why would you go back to Chicago? Just stay here and keep working. So that's around the time that, the relationship started getting more serious as well. And so for work and for personal reasons, Amsterdam just became inevitable.
Yeah. I mean, it was just about the year that you left Chicago and moved out to the suburbs. But, Chicago's winters can be so brutal that it literally changed the face of Chicago politics because the machine mayor in 1979, I think, or 78 was voted out, and Jane Byrne, this woman who came into office.
Michael Bilandic, I remember.
I can't believe you remember. That's incredible. And, she basically came in because specifically the snow hadn't been cleared off the street.
Michael Bilandic couldn't get rid of the snow. You got no snow plows. There's not enough salt. We got to get somebody else in here. They got Jane Byrne.
Right. And you mentioned the Blues Brothers. She's kind of the reason that the Blues Brothers actually even got shot in Chicago. Because all up to that point, there were almost no film licenses given out. Yeah. And then the Bluesmobile drives through Daley Plaza and breaks down. And there's this long rumor that Mayor Daley, the second Mayor Daley, Richie M. Daley, when he came in, he was so upset about the idea of tarnishing his father's legacy with allowing cars and vehicles to drive through Daley Plaza that he kind of systematically scrubbed Jane Byrne's name off of monuments. And that's why if you're around Chicago, some people believe that there's not a lot of Jane Byrne legacy around the city.
I had no idea.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Wow, yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things that it's sort of like too good to look up. Like you don't want to know if it's true.
Oh, I know.
It just sounds like such a thing.
Well, here's so this is a point where I was talking about being a fan of Amsterdam and Amsterdam trivia and falling in love with this new city, but I still love Chicago history, Chicago trivia, and that is a great little detail.
So you've got the King Me show coming up.
Yes.
But also tell me about this Amsterdam voice tour thing that you're doing as well.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
I was approached by this South African startup called the Voice Map app, and they try to find people who have written a book maybe about, and I've written my book about moving to the Netherlands. There was How to Be Dutch, the quiz. There's The American Netherlander, 25 years of expat tales. So, and then clearly I know my way around a voiceover booth.
Right.
So I think they reached me through LinkedIn or something. And just so you know, we've got this program where you can upload your own audio tour to our app. And so I did that. I thought it was kind of fun. The app is called Voice Map. And you know how you go to a museum and you see people with the headsets and the little devices, and it's sort of like they've done that with your phone and with your earbuds. And if the center of Amsterdam is like a outdoor musium, then you could be one of those people.
And you're taking people on this sort of walking route journey around Amsterdam.
It's called The Dutch Invented That: An Irreverent Intro to Amsterdam. It starts with, let's stand in front of Central Station. That's where I stood the first day that I got here. So origin story of me, but also this is originally the mouth of the Amstel River. This is where Henry Hudson would have set sail to discover to colonize this.
Discover.
Yeah. We live here. No, we're discovering this. We have a flag. That's an Eddie Izzard joke. Watch that clip after. But anyway, so Henry Hudson left there. This is where modern capitalism, got its start. This is where so many, concepts, where Tarantino wrote the screenplay for Pulp Fiction. So anyway, these little details from cool bits of history trivia to maybe current day pop culture. You just walk from Central Station to Dom Square and end up at a little gin bar on a side street.
What could be better than drinking Genever at the end of an audio tour, right? I guess drinking during the audio tour would be the only thing that's better. Yeah.
But yeah, it's it is what's downloadable, and that's fun. I walked the tour with a few people who have lived here for quite some time, but they said, first of all, I been living here this whole time. I didn't know that detail. That was interesting. It made me laugh, a couple times. It was fun. And I guess more people have said, I'm not a newbie here. I don't need an intro to Amsterdam. But when I have people come visit, they're wondering, what should I do? You can either walk the tour with them, or you just tell them, here's the code. Get rid of them for an hour.
Here's my friend Greg Shapiro.
Yeah.
So, Greg, all these projects that you're doing, where can people find out more about them?
I've got a website, gregshapiro.nl, and the rest is from there. Linktree, I'm also
find you everywhere.
Yeah, the Linktree is handy. It has all the little social media tags and
just we were talking a little bit about it before the cameras went on. Is there the possibility of a Greg Shapiro podcast competing in this space, you son of a bitch?
Yeah. It might be me and Pep. I don't know. Yeah, the Pep and Greg show is taking a break now. And then we might come back with a podcast that's, it'll be, something that we used to do for YouTube. And it was called 6 Beers of Politics. It's just...
That's perfect.
Two guys start out making sense about politics and then start making less sense and getting more like 24-hour news.
Yeah, it's like drunk Shakespeare.
It's a little bit drunken history. Sure, yeah. So it's a little bit that, but who knows? We'll maybe, but we're not going to compete with damn Yankee.
No, of course not. Well, if you ever need a guest,
hey,
let me know. And I gotta wonder if Greg would be willing to do any Trump voice. Damn Yankee promo for the episode. Are you open to giving a little bit more of what you're known for?
I would say, this damn Yankee. I mean, you got damn, you got Yankee, and how about yes Yankee? We love Yankees. Yankees are great, except for me. Damn Yankee podcast, terrible. They're fake journalists. It's fake news. It's the worst. I'm so upset with you people. Don't listen.
Here's a suitcase full of money.
Okay, I love damn Yankee. They're suitcases of money. They're very nice to me. And sometimes you misunderestimate how great they are. Please, you gotta listen to the damn Yankee podcast, the best.
Greg Shapiro, that's amazing. The American Netherlander. Thank you so much. So generous with your time. That's awesome. Damn Yankee is an NL Times podcast. The show is created by me and Peach Rizzo, and this episode was produced by Laura Bodger and Marcus Engel.